Hello, listeners. We have a very special episode today. Our guest is Mario A. Castillo. He's a consultant at Skitlali, which is based out of Edmonton, Alberta. He's a fellow food scientist like myself. He's a foodie. Mario and I met at the Jelly Academy Digital Bootcamp back in March of this year. And then after it ended, Mario reached out to me early July, and we exchanged a few LinkedIn DMs and a few WhatsApp calls. Then later that month in July, this collaboration opportunity came up, and I will let Mario speak to it more, Christine, and I'll sort of let you lead the conversation with questions.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, so nice to meet you, Mario. Can't wait to learn more about yourself, but then also this wonderful adventure that you're planning and collaborating with Laura on. So yeah, definitely kick it off. Love to hear from you.
Some thanks. Thank you, Lara, for the lovely introduction. And Christine, it's really nice meeting you as well. Yeah, I'm really excited about, this conversation because there's a lot to unpack. I'll try to be as concise as possible so I can share the details of what we're working on. And hopefully we can spark some inspiration in the listeners. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be here with you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, maybe we kind of kick it off. So Laura had mentioned you're out in Edmonton and, background in food science. Would love to dig into that space. Like what has led you from your early beginnings to where you are today to thinking about this upcoming expo?
That's a really good question. Well, I'm originally from Mexico. I was born in Mexico City, but I've been very fortunate to live in different places in Mexico. For the last 16 years of my life, I've lived in Canada. So Edmonton has been home for the last 16 years. And that's where I became a food scientist. But it wasn't always the goal. So to arrive to this point, I would have to share a little bit about my background, like how I ended up in the food industry. So growing up in Mexico, I was influenced by a lot of different people. Obviously, my family, my roots, my grandparents influenced my life tremendously. And now I see it that they without even knowing, they led me to this journey. So it comes from a very profound place in my heart that I always wanted to do things as my parents did it. Grew up watching them do their own magic. My grandpa was a self-taught chemical engineer. He didn't go to university, but he learned lots of chemical reactions. So he set up a shop at his house, and that became my playground. Mm-hmm. I would come in, and in his shop, he would do very complex chemical reactions, and he would work with different compounds and processes like vulcanization of rubber. So I saw him mix compounds and turn them into rubber gaskets, seals, stoppers, like different useful tools. And on the other hand, my grandma used ingredients, very simple ingredients like corn kernels, and turned them into tortillas or a hearty pozole. So it was always very inspiring to do things like them. But I had a different vision. Initially, I wanted to be a pilot, an aviator pilot, because I grew up very close to the airport. So I would see pilots in the neighborhood all the time. And obviously it was like just something I wanted to become, just based on the looks of those people. They look very important walking out of the airport with their uniforms, wearing uniforms and their suitcases. So I was like, I like the idea of traveling. But I don't know, it took me a lot of different events in my life to come to the decision or the conclusion that I wanted to study food science as the means to accomplish my goal. And my goal had always been to help others, to be of service, to do magic like my parents and my grandparents did. So yeah, I saw an opportunity to enroll in the nutrition and food science program at U of A. So yeah, that's how I became a food scientist. And once I was about to graduate, I had the opportunity to work for companies in the industry. So I got to experience the food industry even before graduation. And I didn't like what I saw there. It was one of those things that it made me question if I had chosen the right path, the career path for me, because instead of contributing in a positive way, I saw a lot of the downsides of the industry in production, food production. There's a lot of waste, and that conflicted me a little bit. So before I graduated, I had the opportunity to do more research work with professors at U of A. I decided to go in a different route. I was sure I wanted to still use my knowledge in food science for improvement of the general population, uh, by producing healthier food products. So I got into functional foods, uh, and I studied consumer science, sensory science to make my my set of tools more broader and useful. And eventually, I will start working in the cannabis industry. So for many years, I went under the radar of food scientists in Canada because I wasn't part of the food scene as such. I was doing product developments for cannabis companies. And well, it wasn't necessarily food, it was a wide variety of products, mostly in the natural health sector. So that's where I acquire a lot of my experience now, that the experience that I have now, just doing different kind of work in multiple sectors. Eventually, I decided to launch my own consultancy business, Citlali. It's hard to pronounce because comes from a dialect, the Nahuatl dialect in Mexico City. So that was the language that the Aztecs spoke. So it means a star, and I play with the spelling of the word. So I added an extra, so it would be Psi for science, and Tlali means land or earth. So together is science of earth, right? And it also means a star. So for me, the star is my guiding light, is the constant reminder of what I do and why I do it. So that's how I ended up in this spot. So now that I have the opportunity to connect food businesses from Canada in Mexico and vice versa, Citlali is becoming a collaborative network of individuals and entities who believe that there is a benefit, there is an opportunity to improve or transform the way that we produce, that the way that we grow, produce, and commercialize food across North America. And that's the purpose of coming to Mexico City, to bring Canadian companies to explore the market and to connect with innovators that are in the same wavelength of innovating with purpose, having a positive impact in communities that we belong. I happen to have indigenous background. My great grandma was originally from Mexico City, and she was an indigenous woman who also practiced a lot of plant medicine. So I got the opportunity to also learn some of that, and I discovered that there's lots of valuable knowledge in the tradition of indigenous communities across North America, and they had exercised trade agreements even before we had the economical system that we have today. So that was the inspiration, and connecting. I wanted to learn things that I didn't learn in school, such as digital marketing. And that's where I had the opportunity to meet Laura, and talking to her was very refreshing because it was something that, I didn't expect. That I've interacted with other fellow food scientists in Canada, and it was more about competition, like what have you done, and let me try to overshadow you with what I've did, or something like that. I don't know if I'm being clear with the analogy, but with Laura was different. So we started talking, and we found a lot of we had a lot of common things, and one of them was also have an interest in the natural health sector, and well, our visions were realigned, and that's where I decided to say, hey, well, why don't we collaborate? And this is a great opportunity. We could bring clients to Mexico City to explore the market, and also connect with other potential markets in Latin America. So yeah, that's where we're working on, and I'm really excited that we get the opportunity to collaborate in this way.
Wow. Okay. My heart is pounding because like there's so many exciting pieces that you're sharing with us. Your background, seeing your family in action, creating with purpose, seeing that as a child growing up. And that curiosity, I hear curiosity. You sound like you're so curious about all these different spaces and exploration from the food space to cannabis to consulting and then really being able to identify like I want to bring solutions into the food space and to be able to look at things that there's opportunity for improvement when it comes to food waste and I think that's a huge challenge that we need to find solutions for as a food industry and coming together. But then now looking at this as like a, the food industry is big, but it is also small at the same time. So to bring in companies, innovators, within the same network or to expand outside of this network together to Mexico City. And I think about this really cool thing because there's this connectivity. There was the Jelly Academy, the digital marketing piece where you guys met, which is, that was a great program. I did it in a different cohort, but you guys connected. And it's like when you find someone that you are able to align with and bring new ideas into the market. So that's super exciting. Can't wait to dive in more. Would love to understand what is this upcoming event look like? And perhaps what are some of the ways? Because people are probably thinking, how can I get involved? How can I join this group, whether you're in Canada or if you're in Mexico and you want to link up with Canadian companies? Like, what does this look like? I'll stop talking. Let's dig in.
All right, let's get to it. Yeah, well, I'm really excited to be leading the. It is a taste and trade mission to Mexico City, but there's layers of components to it. This is a unique opportunity for Canadian food and beverage businesses to explore Latin America's dynamic markets. This experience combines access to the Food Tech Summit and Expo show here in Mexico City in October. So this is the largest stage for food innovation in Mexico and Latin America. There will be also hosting 4-day culinary immersion experience through Mexico City. Here, our participants will explore markets, kitchens, and cultural spots, having tastings and learn more about the ingredients, the flavors, and the traditions that shape the food landscape here in this country for centuries. So yes, it's very exciting because beyond tasting, this mission is about making connections. So we've designed B2B matchmaking sessions for networking opportunities and presentations for participants to showcase their projects. And obviously, this will be a great opportunity for the participants to meet potential partners, discover new suppliers, and explore. The theme of our trip is to be sustainable, circular, and innovative. We want to do this with an inspiration based on uh, heritage, culture, and identity. So, being from Mexico City, one of my hometowns, I get to share the stories, the flavors that I grew up with while guiding participants towards business opportunities that honor both the culture and sustainability.
What really drew me in when we were chatting about it early on is how much passion you have for sharing the ancestral wisdom, because Mexico City is very, very strongly rooted in accepting indigenous traditions, and they go way back in terms of culinary ancestral wisdom as well. And so when we were talking about it offline, we were talking about how we really want to emphasize the return to basics, the really embracing some of those culinary traditions and then applying, because we're both scientists, applying some of those innovative science to meet the consumer where they need to be and showcase them. Look, this has been done years and years ago, and we want to showcase the heritage, but we're also thinking about science and safety and quality.
Totally, Lara. Yes, that's very true. It was just recently in July that it was celebrated the 500th anniversary of the city, Mexico City, as well, not as we know it now today, but as the settlement of the First Nations that settle here. So it's been 500 years that they arrived. They built a beautiful city on a it was chain. I don't know how to call them. It's people who are into geography, they may know what's the right terminology, but it was in the valley of Mexico City. There were different lakes that connected through channels. So they built the city on top of those lakes. So they built islands, and within the islands, they have the land where they grew food sustainably for hundreds of years prior to colonization. So yeah, I'm excited to show that part because it's still visible. There are still parts of the city that hold the knowledge, and it is practiced today. And I'm really excited to share that with the rest of the world. Obviously, I'm inviting my fellow scientists and innovators in Canada to come and see it, experience it. It is, I didn't believe I grew up here and I didn't value enough what I had. It wasn't until I went to Canada and I experienced not the lack of food, it's just the pricey part of having access to food is different. It comes with a price, and I didn't know how much I had here growing up. So I think Canada became the safe space where I learned more about myself and my heritage, understanding how we identify through food. So in Canada, while I had access to Mexican food, it came with a price that it didn't make sense until I investigated why, and I discovered there's opportunities to make changes here, like to just propose solutions in a more proactive way instead of just pointing out to the shortcomings of our systems. Obviously, it comes with a socio-political context and the legal framework that make possible the way that food is produced and distributed in Canada. That's where I saw just the opportunity to be the first to try to challenge something that no one else had thought of. Maybe they did, but they didn't have enough motivation to keep going because, yeah, we're dealing with regulatory bodies from both countries. So there's politics, even though I'm not trying to be political about it. It's just the facts that we have to consider, and just finding people with the same vision or a shared vision helps us to move stronger and with more drive and will to do things different, and that's very inspiring to me. Yeah, thanks for seeing that. Passion is just is just something that comes, like I said, it comes from a very profound place in my heart.
Wow. So lots of great, exciting things on the go. And how interesting that being in Canada, living in Canada, gave an opportunity to reflect on your heritage and your roots, and just being like, okay, there's some gaps here, and you're able to identify the gaps, but not just point out the gaps, but actually look at how can we provide solutions? How can we roll our sleeves up, get involved, and actually bring solutions within the food industry. And I think that's huge because it's looking, you're being curious, but you're also looking for solutions, and then helping people to open their eyes to other markets as well. So that all said, what's our call to action here? Like, who should get involved in terms of coming out with you guys to going to Mexico City? Who is this built for? You covered a bit, but you know, are we talking like food scientists? Are we talking about people who are curious about like the market in Mexico, food companies? Like, who is this event built for? Like the Food Tech Summit, as well as this culinary immersion event. Like, walk us through that. Would love to know more.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the invitation is open to anyone who's interested in exploring, having the experience. It's a taste and trade mission. It's combined with a culinary experience. It's immersive because I will be showing you the real Mexico City, not just the part that it's known for, the Michelin star restaurants or published on blogs, or what attracts other people from other countries. But I'll show you the way that Mexico has adapted an identity based on the food that we eat post colonization and throughout history. I'll show you how even the most recent changes in the free trade agreement with the US and Canada has shaped the way that Mexico consumes. There are, very insightful uh, data that show why Mexicans consume what they consume. So that's something that I'm really keen about, because there are hidden, treasures in everything here, in the way that business are done in Mexico, the way that food is produced in Mexico, and how we want to also feed the rest of the world with export. So to answer your question, this trip is for people interested in food systems, food scientists looking for inspiration, and food business owners who are looking for new markets or new suppliers. As we know, the world is changing, is always evolving. And with that, there's changes in the way that we trade with each other. So this is an opportunity to start building new bridges, making connections to facilitate the exchange of goods and services among our nations, and in a different way, in a way that we make sure that we prioritize the integrity of the people who are involved throughout the entire supply chain, and making sure that the products we produce, the products that we put out in the markets, are going to be a reflection of our core values. So we want to inspire the leaders in the industry to start making changes that are prioritizing the well-being of the communities that we belong to. So we want to connect also the community programs in Canada. So we're working with non-for-profit organizations in Alberta as the pilot test. So we will be supporting them in this journey. It would be premature to tell you all the future plans, but for now, it's just worth mentioning that we're working with an extensive network of collaborators who believe in us in the project, and yeah, we're excited to see how this turns out. So we're inviting everyone to just learn more about it, and if you're inspired, if this calls you, please reach out. We'll be happy to share more details. And yeah, in the meantime, we will be issuing those official announcements with the contact information, so you can reach out and get more information.
Amazing. So we'll definitely have the links. We'll have more details. Laura, I know you're digging in on the culinary side as well. Collectively, you're really diving into the culinary immersion, the tasting experience as well. What are you most excited for, Laura, as you're diving in with this opportunity?
I would add that because we're partnering with the trade show organizers, so Food Tech Summit and Expo organizers, the opportunity is we're almost like it's a concierge service during the trade show.
Okay.
So we have selected meeting rooms. Like if you really want to meet with prospective ingredient suppliers or even buyers, if you let us know beforehand, the trade show organizers will help facilitate those meetings. And they will also provide a translation service as you're going through the show, because it's a heavily Latin America, one of their biggest events in food innovation. Having someone who understands the show or understands the way of doing business is so important, especially you go out to an export market like Mexico City, or even like Latin America for that matter, and being able to talk to some of those businesses with that perspective, I think is a great value add. But for the most part, I'm just excited to learn more from Mario, because it's he's coming from such a personal space, and both food is our love language. So I'm so excited to learn more about the culture. And being Filipino, there's a little bit of Mexican influence in our cuisine, and there's probably a little bit of Mexican heritage in my lineage. I think we were talking about it. So I think just trying to understand what that crossover is like in terms of culture and foodscapes.
Wonderful. And just to highlight the dates again, because this is coming up pretty hot, maybe cover that, and also the timeline for folks to reach out and engage if there's interest. So the dates for us, what does that look like?
Mary, you want to take that one?
Yes, absolutely. October 7, that's when we begin our 4-day tour, culinary experience, taste and trade mission. Yeah, so October 7th, we have our reception here in Mexico City. We'll have an opportunity to welcome all the participants, time to connect with each other, and there's surprises. So food is not one of them because it's a must. That's not a surprise. Yeah, so we will be hosting dinners throughout the 4 days. October 8 and 9, that's when the Food Tech Expo and Summit is going on. So we'll have 2 days at the event at the expo. We'll have opportunities, as Laura mentioned. The organizers are giving us the space to come and connect. They are very, very supportive with us. They love the idea that we're coming from Canada and we are including indigenous owned businesses. So they made a special consideration for us, given that the timelines are short. They are very accommodating. So that speaks of how much they want us to come and bring this innovation, or the idea of innovation, connecting with the leaders in the industry. So we'll be sharing space with with the biggest companies in Latin America and in the world too. So they have an international presence. We're being invited to come and have the entry point, because they want us to also have a long-term relationship with them. So for future years, we would want to bring a pavilion, with Canadian companies who may not fall within the same within the scope or the criteria that the federal government and provincial governments of Canada have to select companies to come on the show. So they are offering a space that otherwise wouldn't be accessible to other companies because of the scope of their ingredients, technologies, or packaging materials. So they're making an exemption based on our mission and vision. Once we conclude our 2 days of the show, we'll have um, and more exploration of different parts of the city with different foods that are traditional to different regions of the country. It would be impossible to showcase all the flavors, the different cuisines that we have in this country, but we'll do our best to synthesize, to summarize it in a tour that gives you a taste of the different layers of cultures that we have in this country. Yeah, that's the general description of the tour. So it'll begin October 7th to October 10th. Yeah, and we are inviting participants to register before the end of August, so they will get a 15% off their original pricing, and we are keeping our registration open until September 15th. So our spots are limited. We are inviting a wide variety of participants, but we will have limited spots. So for people who are listening, please consider joining and do it now, because we won't have a lot of spaces. So if this is something of your interest, please go ahead, check us out and reach out. We will be happy to guide you through the process. And yeah, there's lots of things that we will be learning about Mexico. And so yeah, we'll be hosting different webinars prior to the trip. And also the Food Tech Expo and Summit is also offering us an opportunity to get a micro certification in food product formulation. That's in collaboration with the Institute of Food Science and Technology in Mexico and the University of Iberoamericana. So they will be hosting 4 sessions, 2 in person and 2 online, for people who would want to get that, micro certification, so that there's value in it. That's very exciting for me to be able to offer that opportunity to our participants. Aside all other benefits, we'll have the BB meetings, the conferences, translation services, and so there's lots. Food is is covered.
Oh my gosh. What a rich trip. I think it's one of those things where like you'll go to a conference and you're like, oh, I wish there was more. Like, especially when you're traveling to a different country. This event and this whole experience sounds like it's so well rounded. There's a lot of things to drive that additional benefit for folks who are going. So, if you're listening to this, don't sleep on this opportunity. Obviously, because there's so many great exciting opportunities to collaborate. And it's so interesting that when you go and travel and you meet people in kind of like your cohort, you'll likely be connected for life. Like I think that's what I'm sensing with this. But yeah, so definitely take action, folks. If you're listening to this, I think it sounds like a really exciting opportunity. Is there anything else that we should know before we sign off today?
Yeah, I think Mario, I don't know if we can share. We have another collaborator or co-host
Yes.
that Mario has reached out to on the East Coast. I don't know, Mario, if you want to share.
Absolutely. I was just hoping to have the opportunity to thank the people who have believed in this vision, all the organizations, all the clients, and the collaborators, the fellow food scientists, Ara and Karen Cardona, who's also part of this mission. So her with her business, that True Leaves Consulting, they are coming to Mexico. They're part of this mission, and we are so excited to have another fellow food scientist who happens to have a Latin American roots as well. Her parents are from El Salvador, so I'm so excited to have someone who's also representing the Latin American heritage in Canada in the food space. We're very excited to come to Mexico City, and also be created this long-term relationship, as Christine mentioned. Yeah, that's the idea. We're here for the long run, and we're very excited to see the response of people who have heard of our vision and their interest in being part of it. So thank you, Laura, and thank you, Karen, if you're listening.
Amazing. Well, no doubt we'll have to have a recap post-event.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, okay.
Maybe live, special live. Yes, there will be.
All the things. Yeah, I can't wait. Think anything else before we roll out? This has been an awesome opportunity to learn more about this taste and trade mission. Like this is very, very cool. So thanks so much for bringing this to our attention and to share with listeners as well some of those key dates to get signed up, get registered, to really have a super cool immersive experience. Can't wait to learn more.
Yeah. Well, we'll add it to the show notes so that all the dates are listed with some contact information as well.
Amazing.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Well, nice to meet you, Mario.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you both for the opportunity to have this space and share a little bit about myself and the projects that we're working on. I look forward to future conversations with both of you.
Wonderful.
Yes, wonderful.
Fired up.
Awesome.
Thank you, listeners.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love this conversation and can't wait to share our next guest. If you have a food innovator or founder that you'd like to recommend as a guest on our podcast, please reach out to us on LinkedIn or leave your recommendation in the comments section.
If you like what you're hearing, the best way to support us is to share our podcast with a friend and subscribe, and you'll never miss a beat. Until next time, food friends.